Hello PeakAlpha family and welcome to the very first episode of the Strobe Light Series. In this series, we will shine the light on our customers, get to know them better, find out about their day jobs, and also trace their journey with PeakAlpha. We will do this once every month, featuring one new customer. So join me, I'm your host Anupama Biju. Over the years, many of our customers have told us that they would like to meet other clients and customers from the PeakAlpha universe. And as you know, your wish is our command. So starting this Diwali, we're launching the Strobe Light Series. We'll sit down, have a conversation, copy with current style. You get a VIP pass. So let's go and meet our very first guest of the Strobe Light show. Let me welcome our first guest of the show, Abhijita Kulshreshta. She is the director of the Gemstoneuniverse and she also is a Senior Astro-gemologist. Abhijita, when I was reading your profile yesterday and I was trying to make mental notes about how to introduce you to our viewers, I was a little unsuccessful. So I'm just going to hand over the mic to you and let you tell our viewers what it is that you do.
Okay. First of all, thank you, Anupama, for having me over, and it's a great honor to start the Strobe Light series with PeakAlpha. It's a company that I much admire. If I have to tell about myself simplistically, I am an astrologer, an astro-gemologist. I read horoscopes. I work with gemstones. But if I have to actually define what I do, I help people create their lives having a greater, better, more enriching experience. If they are capable of potential to a certain degree, what I suggest helps them uncover it. It helps them find a pathway wherein you identify your strengths, where you are likely to succeed best, what are the timelines when your efforts are likely to get rewarded, and of course, where there are times where, a little bit of caution could do well. This is what I do. However, it involves a complete, let's say, makeover of a human life, working on conditioning past patterns, creating new patterns, being a little more aware, and taking those vital steps towards succeeding, something that you really want to do in life.
Great. And I see that you're an NLP trainer, certified one. You're also an astrologer, you're an expert in gemstones, and then you've also had a degree in mass communications. You worked in an ad agency, in the Times of India group. So you wear many hats. I think you're like a gem with so many facets. So how did you make the transition from a career in mass comm to gemstones? Did you predict it for yourself?
No, I had no clue. I was more like a fly by the seat of a pants person. And when I did mass comm, it was with this real zeal that's to take the journalistic path, the journalism of courage, working for the ideals. However, as you venture out into the real world, life catches up with you soon enough. And, I discovered that that was probably not a good fitment for a person like me. And, writing is a hobby. It's a passion I love. I continue to do it. And that still goes on. And my profession allows me to do it. But wherein I discovered astrology was with Guruji Sri Arnav. And the day I did my first consultation, I sat across my first individual wanting to create a change. I knew I had come home. That was not a feeling I had had. And if you are in a profession where when you do your work, you get that feeling, I have come home. There is no looking further. You've dropped the pin.
Nice, very nice. So tell us a little bit about when did you become a part of the PeakAlpha family?
I think it was about anything between 4 to 5 years ago. I had met Priya socially and I was intrigued. She's a very intelligent woman, very, very intelligent woman. And women who work with numbers are like, they are like really
special.
They're special and they're gifted and they seem marvelous to me. And she has a certain level of integrity and something, that X factor that shines through that she believes in what she does, that she is at home with what she does. And when you find another person who knows what they're doing, that's a good fit.
I believe you've hit the nail on the head, Abhi. We couldn't have said it better. So you set up the Gemstoneuniverse along with your husband. So what kind of services do you provide?
So as I said previously, we do astrology, the Indian astrology. We look at horoscopes, we look at life patterns, we look at solving any kind of obstacles, whether it's health, wealth, relationships, career, business, no matter what. There are answers always there. We also address numerological queries, as in business naming of people as well, to optimize to the sound vibration of numbers as well. Then we offer gemstones, which is our biggest, part of the pie on the table. That the precious gemstones, which is what we retail in, and they work as remedies in terms of getting breakthrough in life, and for a certain set they also work as an investment tool if they are in it for the long haul, because precious gemstones are few and far in between. They will not get manufactured anytime soon, so over the years the value only rises, and it's such a pleasure to have these powerful nuggets of energy with you.
Yes, yeah. So what are the top 3 reasons that people come to you with, issues that they want to solve?
Well, it could be anything under the sun, but of late, like in the last couple of years that I have seen, is work and professional life is the top. And with the pandemic running, people have had almost an agonizing time working through their insecurities, working through such a tumultuous time. So mostly it's about profession, where how are they likely to get a good break? How are they likely to avoid any pitfalls? Or some of them want to turn entrepreneurs. So will that journey work for them? And if so, when is the right time to take the plunge? A lot of people that I meet these days want to get into stock trading and want to dabble on it on their own. So they do have questions about whether they will have a successful run at it. Then, of course, are the relationship issues in its many hues, the holy grail of being a human, whether, like 2 people are getting along or not, what can be done to make it a little better. So a lot of past conditioning, a lot of personal history comes into play over there. Then, of course, are the health reasons for which people do come in, and mostly when they've exhausted their options elsewhere of finding answers, they do think, let's give it a shot. But I do have many success stories from there as well.
I'm sure, yeah. So how does this work? Is it like one session? Is it like many sessions? Is it like counseling? Because you said a lot of reset needs to happen, right, in people's lives.
Definitely, but the methodology and the intent with which we function is that in the 30 minutes or 1 hour session, whatever you choose to have, you have a session with me. I would like to equip a person with as much information that you don't need me again.
Okay.
I don't like to create dependencies. The premise that we function at Gemstoneuniverse is we empower people. We do not want a following. If it happens by default, well, that's God's grace. But the whole idea is to make people so powerful. We don't work from a place of fear-mongering that do this or this is going to happen. No, you have this strength. Work on it. Heighten it. You have a tendency where you will trip on this. So watch out for it. Observe your own patterns. So mostly people do not need, but what ends up happening is that they love talking and they love the environment and they love the counsel. So even if I have several clients who, even if we don't talk about gem therapy, they keep coming back to sound out what's happening. They're conversations, free-flowing conversations. And it becomes a very lovely space to go have it with.
Yeah. So how does one become an astrologer? Do you have to be born with certain psychic abilities, or does one learn it? I mean, this is like writing, right? Lots of people ask, Are you a born writer, or do you learn how to?
About writer, that's something I knew very early on. This is one thing I have, and I can write it and give it to you that this is what I know I am.
Yeah.
So about being an astrologer, yes, intuitive powers will give you a look-see into the possibility of being able to do it. But it's a vast field of knowledge. Vast, as in lifetime is less to capture the essence of what can be learned. So according to the gurus that I have worked with, the first step that I took, I was a very reticent person, because it's tremendous responsibility. You are telling the other person what your life entails, right? So what I was told was there is a repository of knowledge which comes from many births, and it is there, and it will rise when the need be. And time again, I have seen it, I have witnessed it. While I also have spent years together reading up, mastering the texts that we have. But intuition does play a big role, intent does play a big role, because like we say, if you are working from the place where you want to hold power over someone else, it doesn't work.
Right.
Humility and allegiance to the knowledge is more important than anything else.
Correct. Will knowing what is going to happen to me, can I alter it? Or should I even think of altering it?
So here is the thing. If this is a life we've been given, it will unfold exactly as it will unfold. The only quantum of control that we have is in defining the quality of what will unfold. So let's say, for example, if you were to, let's say, get married, but the quality of the marriage doesn't look good originally. But if you are aware of your own patterns and you work on yourself, and let's say some of the stars also, you adopt gem therapy and you strengthen your planets as well. I'm not saying the trials and tribulations will end, but what you were going to score a 2 on 10 would be a 6 on 10 or a 7 on 10. And on the day you're hurting, if you go from a 2 on 10 to 6 on 10, that seems like a blessing. That the pain is tremendously reduced. Or let's say if you were slated for a promotion where you would be given the charge of a certain territory, but then you get an Audi thrown in and you get a couple of aids thrown in, won't hurt.
Of course.
Yes.
Not at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it enhances the quality of life in a good time.
Yeah.
It reduces the pain of any of the trials and tribulations that you face in a time that is challenging.
And do you think that there are any limitations to this, or anything that astrology cannot change?
See, astrology never claims to fix anything in the first place. And with astrology, the first thing is, again, the gurus always say astrology is always right. The astrologers can be wrong. It depends on the practitioner. It depends on what the practitioner is peddling to you.
That's
if somebody is trying to say, I'm going to fix it all for you, that's a false promise to begin with. We are born with who we are, and we have, but we are, but if you're told the same thing in a different way, if you're told that you're the creator of your own destiny, but you will create so much more powerfully if you enhance this, rather than wear this gem or do this puja, or you will falter, or you will fall sick, or you'll get the worst end of the stick. So two different ways of telling people, and especially in these times when people come to astrologers when they're at their most vulnerable.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you look at the plaque at the entrance, this is the premise that we began with. We understand, we appreciate, you raised your hand for help. We respect it. And your privacy as well as your vulnerability will be guarded as fiercely. And you will be rendered help with all respect. Right. So astrology, in sum total, is a map of tendencies. It will show you how you are likely to behave, how you are likely to follow what patterns. And if you are smart enough to identify those and work around your conditioning and your patterns, you can work towards the optimum best that you can get.
Do you remember that one point in your life where you suddenly decided that this is the path you're going to take? Or was there an incident that made you think that, yes, this is what I want to do henceforth?
Yes. So, of course, like you said, I can do so many things. I am an NLP practitioner. I'm a writer. I used to teach com theory. I used to work in the journalism field. I worked in an ad agency. I've done copywriting. I've written speeches for the top level folk. While it may seem like it's such a great thing, it's very confusing for an individual who lives through it.
Yeah.
Because identity is what we all struggle to arrive at.
Right.
Then one fine day, I was told by Guruji, I can do tarot as well. I can do a number of other practices as well. One day I was told by Guruji, this is something you have tangible evidence that you are really good at. Does it make you happy? I said, it makes me happiest out of all the other things that I do. He says, then that's the one thing, and you should rest with it. Because you don't want to become a jack of all trades and master of none. And I think my inner struggle ended there. And no matter what's the temptation, what the situation, I am very content. I am very happy with Vedic astrology. It nourishes me. I enjoy playing in that arena. So, like I said, I'm home. The cow is home.
Okay. So you said Vedic astrology. Is that different from just astrology?
So Vedic, we say to define the Indian astrology. There is the Western astrology. We all grew up with Linda Goodman.
Oh, the sun signs and all that.
Yes.
Okay.
The Western astrology is completely based on the sun signs, which take sun as a marker. While the sun stays 1 month in a sign, and therefore it defines people according to you were born between this date to this date.
I see.
And therefore you have Taurus, Libra, etc., the different signs. Whereas in the Indian astrology, we take moon as the main planet, and with respect to moon, where the planets are positioned. It's also called sidereal astrology because it takes the nakshatra and the stars in a huge significance, ascribes huge significance to them.
Okay.
So that defines it in a very different manner. So the two branches are very, very different.
Okay. So let's say I come to you as a customer. What are some things that you will ask of me to work? It's like my birth chart, or
I just need 3 things from you. That would be your date of birth, place of birth, time of birth. As exact as possible. That's it. That's all I need. And
then you can...
Yes, I will cast, and it's something that flows.
Yeah. Do you... How does it work? Do you work with all this wisdom that you have accumulated on yourself?
It would be a lie to say no. I think a lot of what the processes, the situations that you undergo in life are priming you up for something that is to come, and that holds true not only for me, for every individual. What they've studied, who they've met, who has hurt them, whom they have hurt, what has created a lasting impression on them. It is all leading towards something. So yes, one's own experiences do help. Then it is always, initially what we are taught is that work through charts, different charts, learn the body of knowledge. Then every person who comes in is so new in themselves that becomes a whole lesson by itself.
Right.
So with each person you are learning alongside.
Right. My last question, you answered a bit of it when you were talking about empowering your customer, not making them dependent. And this is one of the things that people say that if you consult an astrologer too often, then you sort of let go of your individual independent thinking abilities, right?
Absolutely.
Right? So even if I'm consulting one, how do I make use of these services judiciously?
So I am not supposed to tell you anything more than you ask me.
Okay.
First rule.
Okay.
So you hold the power. I don't hold the power here.
Okay.
And me as an ethical astrologer, I'm not supposed to look into areas unless you have asked me to.
Okay.
Okay. So that's number one. Number two, if I have to talk about something because a question of yours is so deep-seated and it needs addressing, I will always seek permission. Are you comfortable talking about it?
Okay.
So people on their instinct, on the basis of trust, will mostly reply to a yes. But then we work only in as much as is relevant to the situation. I don't answer questions related to longevity. By principle, I am not going to answer that for anyone.
Okay.
I will never answer questions related to character of a person. So let's say some people come from matchmaking. Just like you wouldn't like to be discussed in absentia,
Correct.
I will not do it for anyone else. So even if it's a husband consulting for a wife, I ask for consent. Show me on a WhatsApp or show me a letter saying that they are okay with you
Correct.
doing this on their behalf. So there are boundaries. There are very set boundaries, which, if you work under within the boundaries where, like I said, your allegiance to your knowledge is primary. Everything, if you work within those parameters, it works. It just works.
But it's very nice to know that, astrologers also go by very set standards, by ethics. And I think a sentence that you said, that you owe allegiance to the knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's a very comforting thought, and I'll leave our viewers with that idea. So thank you, Abhijita. This was a wonderful conversation. I'm sure you had a wonderful time listening to Abhijita as much as I did talking to her. As we were talking, I could draw so many parallels between what we do at PeakAlpha and what she does. In a way, we are predictors of the future as well. We chart plans for our customers. We craft their future. We do course corrections so that they don't have to endure those bumps in future. And we plan a financially successful future for our customers. If you have any comments, suggestions, compliments about the show, please drop us a line and let us know at the email below. If you want to be featured on this show, do drop us a mail as well. We'll be happy to have you and host you. Thank you for listening to us, and a happy Diwali from all of us at PeakAlpha. We wish you happiness, good health, prosperity, and abundance. Till I see you next time, goodbye and take care.